I'm Kev.
And I'm Steve.
And we're from the internet.
Want to support the show? Do all your Amazon shopping through we'refromtheinternet.com/Amazon, and it doesn't cost you anything extra, but we get a little kickback on everything you buy.
How old is too old to be playing video games?
There's no such thing as too old to be playing video games.
No, I don't really. When your hands stop moving, I guess.
Yeah, but then you could still play Angry Birds and stuff.
And that
unless your hands are completely motionless, I suppose.
There's all that mind control gaming that we saw at the Gadget Show the other week.
I think that. In fact, I started watching Video Game the movie on Netflix last night.
I saw that.
I fell asleep 20 minutes from the end, so I haven't seen. I don't know how it turns out. I assume everyone finished the game and stuff in the end. But they said the average age of a gamer now is 35. So
did you know over 50% of gamers are women as well?
I did know that because I, as previously stated, watched that movie.
I haven't seen all of it. I mean, I've seen that on Netflix. I haven't watched it.
I see.
But I follow some people on Twitter, that talk about how...
Yeah, it just threw out loads of statistics like that. And
middle-aged women are the biggest gamers in the world now.
That's because of mobile gaming and smartphones and stuff, isn't it?
No, not just that.
No,
take that out.
That's what they said.
That is one of the things, but if you take that out, there's still a big bulk of gamers, apparently.
I disagree.
Not the majority, but they're still like at least a third, if not half of the...
I'll allow that.
Yeah.
But this average age of gamers stuff, they bring out a new statistic every few years, and it always roughly matches what my age is. As I get older, the average age of gamers comes up. That
makes sense, doesn't it? Because
I was obviously that big generation. I suppose I was really, because I was my first console was an NES back in the late 80s. So that was when home console gaming really exploded. After obviously you had the Atari and stuff back in the early 80s.
See, that was it.
I went a bit wrong.
I've watched the thing I actually watched yesterday was the Atari film on Netflix where they talk about how
I've not seen that.
E.T. was buried in the desert, and
you just spoiled the end of the movie.
That's what they talk about. But they were saying, because the whole industry flops there, doesn't it, basically, and dies.
Well, again, from Video Game the movie, Atari went out of business 6 months later, apparently.
Yeah, so then, from then on, there wasn't really anything until, I guess, the NES, particularly. I know someone's probably going to get right in their points of view, whatever.
Well, let them.
But, yeah, I basically am similar to you in that, even though I was a bit younger, Nintendo, Sega, all of that is when it all kind of really picked up again. And I guess before that, it was too hard to get into massively. It was kind of the thing that people just rolled their eyes, is it the bloody games again? Because, I mean, I played on my dad's old stuff, and it was just like playing a tape that loaded and could corrupt at any moment, and you'd have to restart, and you had to know a bit of programming to make it boot and all sorts. So, whereas when we started, it was just stick a cartridge in, press go.
Exactly. And of course, our close personal friend Peter Molyneux, he was in Video Game the movie, and I think it was him who said how it's basically an amalgamation of all art forms. You've got arty, picture art in there. You've got music. You've got storytelling. If you think of an art form that exists out there, it's all in video games. It is everything. So, if people like listening to music, stick them on a video game. If they like looking at pretty pictures, wang them on a video game.
What I hate about games, they try and wang in pop music. That's what kills me.
Depends what the pop music is.
Well, I don't mind if it's like a racing game and it's over the back. My favourite band...
when you're driving around and you've got the music on, that's all right.
I love that. My favourite band at the moment is a band from America. They were on the Burnout 3 soundtrack with a song called Come On. And they're called Go Betty Go. And they basically... I only learned about them because they were on the back of a game. And they were also in SimCity and Sims. And it's like, that's quite cool. But what I mean is when something like Final Fantasy has a Leona Lewis song as the theme tune. That happened, yeah. And it was diabolical. And it was just really out of place and stupid. And they did that a couple of times. And it's just... I mean, I can get it that in Japanese culture, they used Japanese pop star for one of them. And that song went quite well. Made a big hit in their country and that sort of thing. And that kind of... That's okay, in my opinion, because it was a bit different and it didn't feel out of place. But when they just jammed an American pop song in, it just seemed sickening. Whereas... when they have their orchestral music, it's some of the greatest. That they actually do orchestral, opera things now where people go and watch it all because it's such good music. It's like proper classical music in the modern era kind of thing.
Do you still mix in circles where people find out that you play video games, or even that you talk about video games on the internet, and they just sort of look at you like you're a little bit weird?
Not really anymore. I used to, I guess. I think all my friends and family are used to it. When we first started doing podcasts, they were all a bit like, and then when I started doing gaming, one of my mates was like, you're not even the most knowledgeable about games in this conversation. And it was like me, him, and two other people. And it was like, what? And I was like, well, that's not really the point. I like them. We're going to go talk about them. People don't really judge now. They probably judge me for more things, like just looking like a troll.
Well, I suppose it's they've got to pick their battles, and that's the obvious one.
Hmm.
But teachers are ridiculous for it.
Well, teachers are wankers. Sorry, I'm swearing on a morning show. But
you're a disgrace.
Teachers are the worst. The more I've been out of it, the more I've just thought, my God, teachers are awful people. Like, properly awful people. They're so... Oh.
None of them play games, and they think I'm weird for playing them. That's
because they all take themselves so seriously and dedicate themselves so forthrightly to their job, which is just silly.
I just like the holidays.
Exactly. You're different because you're a bit of a mutant teacher who just likes to teach people. And you're not in the cult. Whereas there's just so many cultists who just think, no, I'm an adult. I should work myself to death every day for no good reason. No, because I think what I'm saying is, like, education is very, very, very important, and you can do that in a 9 to 5. You don't have to be the sort of person who stays up till 2 in the morning every day to be a good teacher.
In fact, you're better at it if you don't do that.
Exactly, but there's the cult.
And what's this 5 you speak of? 5 doesn't exist in my schedule.
But these cultists who like to stay up till all hours and don't sleep only do it because they want to feel like they are doing everything. They're living and breathing it. They're so obsessed because their lives are empty.
You need to send me an email at my work email tomorrow. I've set up the Tim Ferriss autoresponder, set it up over the Easter holidays. And I've had a couple of comments on it today, because it's the first day people have started to get the response where it just basically, it says something along the lines of, due to high workload, I'm now only answering emails twice a day at 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. If you've got something urgent, and then in brackets, and make sure it is urgent, you can find me in wherever my room is. And that just and there's been a couple of times when I've had a response of, oh, this is new, but no one's saying you can. And that goes, if the head teacher emails me, they get that. Everyone is getting it. It's brilliant. And no, so far, no one's told me to stop, because I think it's a little bit of, they don't really know how to react to it.
But that's the thing. That's another reason why it does made it, because they're all just amateurs who walk in on day one. And you remember when we went to uni? And
no. When was that?
Everyone there was 18 except for us, and they all thought they had to act like what they thought 18-year-olds had to act like, and they were all acting like wangs, and we were just getting on with life because we'd already learned that you don't act like a wang. You don't act like you've got a bolt up your backside. You just act normal and get on with it. I think everyone turns up on day one of teaching acting like, oh, I have to be serious, I have to be a teacher. I did it a little bit, and then realised pretty quickly you don't have to. So I got on with my students quite well. But I think people come in, they don't know what the rules are. There are no rules. So when you're doing it, everyone's just kind of going, well, you can't do that. And then no one's got the balls to stop you, because they're all toothless and amateurish. And they're just waiting for their next promotion so they can be an amateur at something higher and higher and higher until they ruin a school by being ahead of it.
Want to get your question answered on a future episode of We're From The Internet? Head over to we'refromtheinternet.com/question, tweet your questions at Kevin Steve, email kevinsteve@gmail.com, or post them at facebook.com/kevinsteve, or even leave them in the comments for this episode.